see. All right. Now, 1 second here. I'll get you back so I can. Okay. Let me get you back so I can see you on the full screen. Okay, great. Well, all right. So this is part two. Let's take a little different perspective in terms of the sales people themselves now on your side of things. What are the characteristics? What are the actions that salespeople need to do today to be successful? What are the most important things they need to be concerned about?
Well, I think it really revolves around three important characteristics. From my perspective, the most important characteristic is the ability to build long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Again, slightly unlike the corporate side of the business, which is somewhat more transactional, but at the senior sales level is also relationship driven. The association business is very relationship driven. Planners like to buy from their friends, people they know, people they trust. So in the olden days, when we first got in the business, building a relationship was really about how well we entertained our customers, kind of the, quote, hospitality of the business. And really, now it's about the ability to understand that association's business, asking key questions, and building a relationship on multiple levels of an association. In the olden days, it used to be fine to put all of our relationship eggs, if you will, with the meeting planner. But now we've got to know the executive director, the chief staff officer, and the heads of the boards of directors in order to make a great impression and change buying behavior. I think the second most important thing is the ability to balance a lot of priorities. It's not easy to maintain a portfolio of 50 to 60 accounts. So the ability to show attention across your entire account portfolio so that no one feels that they're getting less of your time is really important. And the third is really the business acumen. Again, that's something that's become more and more important. As we all know, the days of salespeople quoting their own rates and evaluating their own business opportunities is gone. They don't do that in a vacuum anymore. Most of our, in fact, all of our big hotels participate in group strategy. They have group strategy managers that help evaluate that business and help set rates and help identify the correct amount of meeting space that we're going to allocate to a group, and if it's a good deal for the hotel. So it's the ability to understand the business that you're bringing. It's the ability to understand what the hotel needs and the ability to sell that to the people, the internal stakeholders that you have to sell that business to. And that's no less important than building the relationship with the customer side if you want to be successful.
Yeah. Well, you and I are on the same page on that totally. I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree more.
It's a changed world since
Yeah.
I started 30-something years ago.
Yeah. When you used the term group strategy manager, is that the equivalent of what we know generically as a revenue manager?
Yeah, we put a nicer title on it.
Exactly. Well, that's right. They need a nicer title. That's a great position. Because I always just say, when I was a director of sales, I worked with the front office manager, and we did that. We were revenue managers. We just didn't call ourselves that back in those days, or group strategy managers. We were working on that all the time.
And kind of a trend that is happening that I'm happy about is, as you probably know, they were always the people that the clients never got to talk to. They were kind of the magician behind the curtain that kind of told the hotel people what to do. We're bringing them more into the customer fold for a couple of reasons. One is we want the customers to understand what is being looked at on their business. But more importantly, we want them to understand the trends that our salespeople are seeing within their association customers so that they can react properly.
Yeah, well, I think they need the business acumen too.
Exactly.
Well, in the world as we have it today, automation is definitely a key factor. Our own hotel that we opened here last year, our 5-star boutique hotel that's part of the university, the Hotel Icon, is using the Delphi system. So the students are going to see a little bit of how that operates in that process. What is Marriott doing in the communication aspect between hotels and the sales force and the association side and yourselves to use the automation to put that together?
Well, as you probably know, all big companies are always on some kind of change path, and we're in the middle of a change from a system that was hotel based, where a above property salesperson could only really build an opportunity and send it to individual hotels. Now we're going into something called CITY, which stands for Consolidated Inventory and Total Yield. And what that's going to enable the salesperson to do is actually be even more strategic than they've been in the past. They'll be able to see the inventory of the hotel, the available inventory and space, as well as the on-the-shelf rates. So they'll be able to help guide the customers to the right hotels based on not only availability, but what the customer room rate budget is. And I think we're in like 10 hotels now. It's a 2.5-year rollout, so it's a long process. But you know, we wouldn't be Marriott if we weren't changing systems in some area.
Yeah.
The good news is when we upgraded to our current SFA, which stands for Salesforce Automation, Salesforce Automation gives everybody that has a license to that system a complete look at every account. So contacts, opportunities, the account profile, the strategic initiatives that the global salesperson would have against that account. So there's less reliant on the phone conversation as a basis to start. You know, we first direct the property salespeople to the account profiles in SFA to do their homework first, and then have a conversation on what the opportunities might be from that specific account into their individual hotels.
Do you in any way use any of the social media within the internal communications on any of this, or is it more related to what you would do with the planner themselves?
Yeah, it's more related to what we would do with the planner. I mean, certainly we have LinkedIn groups around certain issues, but it's not really part of the sales process per se.
Okay. Well, let me kind of wrap this up in a way to give you an opportunity to talk to the students more directly about future careers. Now, the students in this class in background are actually majoring in convention and event management, and they have a strong interest in it. But most of the time, most programs, as you may know, at the university level, only address the meeting professional side. They don't really address the venue side. But we have several subjects, which I'm fortunate to teach, that talk about the hotel side of things. So if you were to give some advice to these young people as they're going out and starting their careers, if they have thoughts about the sales side of it, how would you depict that? What would you give them as your best advice?
Sure. Well, recent experience, I've just come from PCMA, and we had over 270 students at this year's convention, an all-time record.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Professor Jones, you used to attend PCMA.
Yeah.
It really is a good meeting.
I booked it twice. I booked it twice as the booking salesperson.
At the World Center for sure.
And downtown Chicago. Yeah.
In downtown Chicago. Your good friends Deborah Breiter, Joan Eisenstadt, George Fedich were all there. So we probably had more students this year than ever before. And I think we have 900 student members now of PCMA.
Wow.
But the reason why I bring that up is when I was talking to the students, they were in the same mindset. They were all set to go work for companies or associations that had events. And I was quick to say, you know, you might want to start on the hotel side because it's going to give you two things. It's going to give you a broader perspective of the types of organizations you might want to eventually work for because you work across segments, whether it's corporations, trade shows, associations. But more importantly, I think you're a stronger event planner or meeting manager if you understand the hotel side of things first. If you understand how a hotel operates, how they evaluate your business, how to get things done in a hotel, I think some of our strongest event planners have somewhere between 3 and 8 years hotel experience before they go over to the meeting side of things. And quite honestly, I might be biased, but I think it's far more exciting to work with a different group every week than the same group week after week after week. I mean, it keeps things fresher. It's much more exciting when you see those groups come in and check out of your hotels than carrying that same annual meeting around from state to state to state.
Yeah.
It's almost bias, but there's my pitch.
Yeah.
Start hotel side.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think, well, I know my experience at UNLV. That's where most of those students who are coming out of events ended up working because there aren't any event planners in Vegas. They all come to Vegas, but they aren't there. So
A one trade show company, right?
yeah,
Conference.
exactly, exactly. I'll give you one last opportunity here to give a pitch towards Marriott, both domestically, internationally, and so on. What makes Marriott different than the rest?
You're too kind. Well, we started out our conversation about Marriott.
Yeah,
I really think the reason that's kept me with Marriott for 25 years now is the corporate culture. The fact that we really do operate as a large family, we look after each other. Our general managers are simply wonderful. They're all involved in the sales process. I think our culture and the fact that up until the recent change where Arnie Sorensen took over our CEO position, we've only
yeah,
had two CEOs in the entire company, and both CEOs have had the name Marriott. I think that builds a really, really strong corporate culture. That combined with those of your students that are going to stay international, I think we're a little bit younger in growth in Asia. I think Starwood was a little bit ahead of us in terms of number of properties, but we'll both end up probably with the same number of units. Our units are going to be newer, more advanced, and I think they're going to be more exciting places to work. If you just go over to mainland China and see some of the new JWs in Shanghai,
yeah,
Beijing, and some
yeah.
of the Renaissance products, they're absolutely amazing. And I think I last heard we have 44 hotels under development in the next 3 years in mainland China alone.
It's amazing.
So Marriott's on the move. Another untapped market for your students, the Middle East and Africa. We're really behind in those markets, and we've hired some major development talent in those areas to get us into Africa and more hotels in the Middle East, particularly in Israel, where we currently only have one hotel in Tel Aviv. So
Interesting.
we're on the move. It's a solid company. Forbes always says in the hospitality group, we have the strongest management team of any hotel lodging company. So if I was going to go work for a hotel company and I had all the big ones to choose from, I'd pick the winner. And right now, I believe that to be Marriott.
You sold me. But then I was sold before. So, well, thank you very much, Richard. I'm gonna end our recording here.
Sure.
Okay, let's get to the right spot.